Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play the Occult Chronicles. We left off, Craig Holgan was beginning to explore the other part of the first floor. And as you can see, with the ending up of a dead end on this side, we kind of had to skirt around all of this. We also found a secret door that we weren't able to open, but we are beginning to work towards being able to be better at such, with one more experience needed to increase our wand's skill 1 point. That's kind of all we've done. We actually turned in a quest. We haven't gotten anything really that spectacular at the moment. We have picked up a few more quests, though. Well, actually, I guess 2 more. Let's keep going. We actually also know where one of the quests is in this room. I'm going to wait until we get more pentacles and wands before we go after the actual guillotine. Let's step into this dining room and see what is in here. A haunted painting of a coward. You notice an odd painting hanging on the wall. It is a portrait of a man dressed in 19th century clothing who appears to be completely petrified with fear. He holds a dueling pistol in both hands, and a group of undertakers in the background seem to be digging a grave. Suddenly, the portrait seems to animate and come to life. The coward looks at you with an imploring expression, as if he was seeking your help. You could swear that you can hear the gravediggers laughing. You stare at the man in the painting, and his fear seems contagious. You need to fight to keep your sanity. Oof. Let's see if we're afraid of guns. And we are not. Awesome. Your mind is strong. In a playful way, you exclaim "boo" to the ghost, and he starts to shake and sob uncontrollably. Now, he is part of a quest that I've never been able to figure out how to gain. We're gonna try, no, we can't really run. We'll defeat him. I think we must need 4 wands to do this, or 5 pentacles, I'm thinking, to start his quest. There is another painting in the house, which is a haunted painting of a duelist. And I get the impression he has to duel the duelist and win. But I don't know how to do it, because, I've never had the stats, so I'll look to lowering this at some point. Let's just go ahead and duel him and get it, hopefully put him out of his misery. Oh, actually, we don't have a good chance of doing that either. Let's try sorcery. A sorcerer's curse of some type is usually the cause of something like this. Cursed furniture seems to be a common occurrence around here. You know what to do. Oh, this isn't that bad. We have a few high number cards, a King of Wands and a Queen of Swords. And we get a 3 to start, 3 of Cups. Let's try... What does this do? I could discard the 8. But no, let's try to change our 3 to a page. We do. We can succeed. I could also change the wands to pages, but I see this 8 right here. So I'm going to change this to a page and win the challenge. Win these points. We'll take the page of swords with our queen. Take the 8. Let's take the 5 with our 8. This is looking really good for us. Okay, not bad. 6 points over. That's, I think, 4 or 5 extra cards. Or cards drawn for the victory. You channel your energy into a Vishguli dispelling symbol and mark it across the painting. It is effective immediately, and you watch as the spirit flees the confines of the painting and then is quickly sucked into the spirit world. That is the other point of experience we needed to increase our wands by 1 point. Awesome. Next we'll go for pentacles, then for cups, and then we may begin trying to take more spells or a few other edges. A locked device edge could also be useful, though, to help us with the doors. Hello? The ghostly dinner party. It seemed impossible at first, but slowly you recognize the sounds of clinking glasses and the soft murmur of conversation. A long dining table stands in front of you, surrounded on all ends by dusty chairs. As you come nearer, you think you detect some movement around the table, and the hairs on your arms begin to stand on end. It's suddenly very cold. A ghostly face peers out from behind one of the chairs, and in a heartbeat, you see the apparitions seated all around the table. The scene twists at the threads of your sanity. This is one of my favorite pictures for this game. I love the idea of you walking up to an empty, what looks like an empty dinner table, and suddenly a ghostly girl's head just peeks around the chair to stare at you. That is awesome. You struggle to comprehend this brush with the supernatural. You have rarely seen this many ghosts congregated together before. Well, again, one face card and a bunch of number cards. But it is just a horror check, so it's not as important to win this challenge as it would be actually doing anything particularly important. You've kept your sanity. You hardly feel at ease, but your willpower is rock steady. We've finally seen enough ghosts that I think Craig Holden is getting used to them now. You're confronted with a very unusual scene. You stand before a dinner party of ghosts, who for the most part seem completely oblivious to your presence. Occasionally, you see a ghost looking around as if trying to find a servant. However, most seem fully preoccupied with ghostly gossip and dinner chatter. Let's try to interrupt them. You decide to use your powers as a medium to tap your ectoplasmic knife against a glass and grab their attention. Maybe a direct approach will let you start a conversation so that you can gather some information. Of course, there are some risks involved with this approach. We have 3 kings, so I can't think of a reason why we would fail this unless we get all pentacles up here. And immediately we get to play the King of Wands to get 7 points. A fantastic start. 13 points. 13 points. Rows of ghostly heads turn towards you and gaze expectantly. You offer a pithy toast, and they seem pleased. Before you know it, you are gabbing away. The general consensus is that the lack of a proper dessert is spoiling the festivities. You hear raucous cries for dessert, and many of the ghostly guests are looking expectantly towards you. Would you be so good as to find the butler and order our dessert? It's really tempting to grab another pentacles right away. Or do I want cups? They're both useful, and I'll want both of them, I think. Well, let's keep adventuring. A Class 1 haunting. Suddenly, you see the dim glow of formless ghosts just ahead of you. It seems to just hang in the air. It may be the most basic of spectral creatures, an unformed psychokinetic disturbance, but it's a spirit all the same, and it would frighten any flesh and blood human. Notice how difficult this is, actually, a target of 6. The game, in addition to making you lose more life and sanity, the higher your base stats are, the tougher the challenges begin to become. I think this is not normally a 10 difficulty for the horror check. I could be wrong there, but I don't think I am. Oh, in any case, we draw a really good hand for this horror check. Let's play the page. Ooh, hello, Queen of Cups. We have a king to take you. Your mind is strong. You've seen things far worse than this. The haunting manifests itself as a dim ball of light. It has no sense of its previous life or existence. It wanders, hopelessly lost. You should exercise caution. These haunts cannot be reasoned with, and they can be lethal if disturbed. So, this is a random encounter, similar to the cultists that we've bumped into before. Normally, you would only be able to destroy the ghost using your psychic talents, which actually is really difficult because we have a 4 in wands, I suspect. Again, I believe the game's making it tougher. I have added Getter. In fact, yes, this is normally a 7 challenge. The game is increasing the difficulty up to 11. So I've added Getter as a plan for those without a psionic way of dealing with the ghost. Let's go ahead and try to destroy it, because it's actually going to be much easier than trying to run. Okay, this is a decent hand. A King of Wands, a Page of Wands, and a Queen of Pentacles. And we only have 1, 2, and a 5 for our low cards. We have to take the 6. I could try failing now, but I run the risk of getting some nasty things if I lose a battle like this. So we're going to keep on trying to win. So we have an interesting choice here. I could play the 5 to let us win, and then my King and Page might be used for higher ranked cards, in particular Queen or Knight of Wands. But the odds of it being a Queen or Knight of Wands is very low. So I will play the king at this point. And we win. You engage in a psychic duel with the ghost. It turns its mindless anger and desperation against you, but you prevail. You feel that whatever it was before would thank you for the peace you gave it. Courage. Courage is the same thing as arcane power, and it is used to recharge your heroic feats. We do not have any heroic feats, so we cannot do anything with courage. I have a hunch this door is going to lead outside. And it does. This path will take us to the garden. I don't have 3 cups, and I don't like this negative effect that's in place. I would want to be able to run away from some nasty things out in the garden, so I'm not going to go out there. The garden area is slightly more difficult than anything else on the first floor. Actually, I would consider this the same difficulty as things in the second floor, which we are not quite ready for yet, so I will not go that way. A dying plant man. You notice a human figure curled up into a fetal position and struggling for breath. It's obvious that whatever this is, it's sick and probably dying. As you draw closer, you realize that this figure before you isn't human. It's some type of weird half-plant and half-human lab experiment monstrosity. You occasionally encounter things that science shouldn't meddle with, and this is one of those. You stare in horror at the pathetic creature and wonder what madness would drive someone to create this. There is no reason for us to hold on to the page in this case. The only card that the page would beat that... I'm sorry, the only reason... The page can take the 10, but we have the 10 as well, and the page can't take anything higher than itself, so we play it. In this case, we'll play the 10. Basically, I'm getting rid of the cards which make sense to use. That's always what you want to do in this. Playing the 9 on this 3 would risk us losing the page if a king showed up next. Your mind is strong. You've seen things far worse than this. You were part of that team that broke into the 5th lab and discovered the twisted, alchemically created creatures called chimeras. This isn't anywhere near as bad as that. Is that a reference to Fallout? I know chimeras were in that. The dying plant man looks up at you expectantly. You think that you can recognize emotions in its facial expressions. Fear and pain. In between labored breaths, it seems to be chittering like it was trying to communicate with you. Its message is plain. Please end this. Oh, we're likely to find the butler around here somewhere. The Ghost Baker. You think that you hear someone whistling at first. The gloom seems to part and you encounter a figure engaged in a task of some sort. It's dressed in clothes from a previous era. As you come closer, you recognize that you are in the presence of something supernatural. The figure is transparent and seems to glide here and there as if floating on air. No matter how many times you see something like this, it is always a bit of a shock. Your touch with the supernatural threatens to chip away at your sanity. Calm your mind to resist the terror that wishes to overwhelm you. Oh, wow, that's a really good hand. You have kept your sanity. At this point, you've almost gotten used to the spectacle of spirits of household servants scampering around in their old haunts. The ghost that you're observing was obviously once a baker. You recognize the distinctive clothing and discern that it appears to be going through the motions of preparing bread for the oven. You sense, however, that it is agitated. It keeps repeating the same motions over and over as if stuck in some type of circle. It pays you no attention whatsoever. Well, oh my goodness, a 6th difficulty. Let's try and communicate with it. You decide to make contact with the ghost and listen to its story. Many focused hauntings like this have some unresolved business here in this world. Maybe you can help. Wow, that's a good hand. 2 kings and 2 queens, both of the same suit, though. Well, if we get pentacles and swords, this will be no challenge. You enter a trance and psychically reach out to the ghost. As you suspected, the ghost is caught in the psychokinetic rut of a sorts. It's not fully aware of this, but it seems eager to talk. I haven't any time for you, shouts the ghostly baker. Unless, of course, you can get my oven working again? It's wandered off somewhere, but I need it cleaned and fast. It's time to make the donuts. The ghostly baker pays you no more heed and goes back to his endless preparations. You will need to find this oven and clean it. That's a nod to an old commercial for Dunkin' Donuts, a donut chain here in America. They used to bake the donuts fresh all the time there, but that is no longer the case, unfortunately. I think, or they still bake the donuts, but they bake them at certain, well, bakeries, and they get shipped to the Dunkin' Donuts. They no longer bake them at each Dunkin' Donuts site. Oh God, an axe-wielding madman, he was here. You stop as soon as you catch the lone figure near the wall. You might have thought that he was a statue standing there, as his only movement in the gloom was the labored rise and fall of his chest as he drew breath. Without warning, he bursts out in a maniacal cackle that sends a shiver down your spine. You have no doubt that you are hearing the laughter of the insane. The maniacal laughter is truly disturbing as it echoes around the room and out the doors. We might be losing the game right here, everyone. He will be difficult for us to beat. I did not mod him yet, so he has no magical means of defeating him. Your mind is strong. You've seen things far worse than this. A gaunt, thoroughly insane man wielding a bloody axe lunges towards you. You are certain that there is no way to reason with him, so you can save your questions for later. Yeah, that's impossible. And this is not very likely. However, we're still going to try to run, rather than fight him. He is very dangerous. He hits very hard, and he can inflict wounds on you. A wound is a card which you must take, like an inventory item or a spell, but it's only negative. It decreases your stats, or makes it much more difficult for you to beat the game. You decide that you don't want any part of this right now. Well, with that draw, we're not likely to escape him. And we don't. You turn to run, but the axe-wielding maniac jumps on you with amazing speed. He stinks of blood and feces, and you struggle to get him off of you. Finally, you roll away, but he chases after you. We are still stuck, and we need to run again. Though it's slightly easier, we get one more draw. It looks like one more trick. You turn and run. As the maniacal laughter fades into the background, you start to feel better. That means we're not getting through this door. We need swords and cups to be able to defeat him, and that will be some time before we have either of those. An occult card game ritual. You see a spent candle placed next to several chalk circles. You have the impression that somebody has been playing a game here. You notice the card sitting in 3 of the circles. A sudden chill shoots down your spine as you recognize one of the cards. Death. Something supernatural is going on here, and you can feel it in your bones. A ritual was in the process of being performed and was suddenly interrupted. You can sense a spirit energy swirling about this place. Oh, we have a good hand, though. We also got 1 extra point because... justice. Your mind is strong. You shrug off the effects of the supernatural energy that has been drawn to this location via the ritual that the deck has begun to invoke. Alongside death sit despair and darkness. The unseeing eye seems to preside over all 3. This is a very unusual deck. You can't place it exactly from memory. You think it might have originated in the Balkans, but you are not sure. You study the setup carefully and decide what to do next. Let's try to figure out what the game's hinting at of how we should play it. We could also just try playing the deck, but that's likely to be very dangerous. Let's see if we can figure out what we need to do next. Now, I already know it's the symbol with the hand on it. We need to find that again, and that will let us go make further progress in this quest. That's very nice. Getting the Knight of Swords, we have the Queen of Swords in our hand. Amazing. We'll play the Knight. It's not likely... oh, well, shouldn't have done that. Yes, you recognize the deck and the setup. It's clearly the work of the Red Hand. You You thought that the cult had been destroyed utterly. I guess we can pretend that was the cult we were a part of originally. Why would a red hand divination deck be set up here? There must be a spirit key nearby. You should try to find it. We're getting kind of unlucky with the experience points. We've had so very little so far in the game. The butler's ghost. A tall, well-dressed figure looms into view, holding a silver platter in one hand as if to offer you an appetizer. Your eyes travel down to the platter and behold half a human head. You feel a surge of panic growing within you. You've been trained to expect and deal with things like this. Even so, no matter how many times you see something like it, it still requires steady nerves to keep calm. Oh, that was dumb. Why did I do that? I had the king. I had the king. You can't keep the growing feelings of horror at bay. This encounter is definitely heading in the wrong direction. Guess we didn't face off against that challenge very well. Standing in front of you is the figure that was obviously once a butler or servant. You say once because you are sure that what now confronts you is a supernatural entity of some sort. It is the most corporeal ghost that you have ever encountered. You have read of such things in Tobin's spirit guide, but you are certain that this is very unusual. You approach the butler and his glowing eyes are fixed on you. The head on the plate suddenly stares up at you as well. "May I help you, sir?" It intones, and you are not sure if you actually heard its voice in your ears or just in your head. Let's try to order dessert. This is actually really freaking tough. Without displaying the slightest amount of unease, you inquire about dessert by telling the ghost, "Yes, my good man. The guests in the dining room are getting a little excited about their dessert. Could you head over there to the kitchen and see what the problem is?" I think why the game is so difficult, because normally it would be... Oh my god, this is tough too. I think it's because of our 32 sanity, so the game thinks we're further along in it than we actually are, and it's making this really difficult for us. That said, we still aced it, so I guess I can't really complain about that. "As you wish, sir," is all you hear, and amazingly, he fades away before your very eyes. Let's go back, because the dinner is right here. Oh, actually, let's search... Let's double back. Alright, we'll complete the quest. You focus your psychic energy and tap your knife once more against an imaginary glass. Ghostly heads snap to your attention. Dessert will be here shortly. While we're waiting, what can you tell me about this place? Dessert is sumptuous, and you have made one or two otherworldly acquaintances. More importantly, you think you have learned some important things that will improve your chances on this mission. The Tower. We'll take a look at that trump card in a few seconds. That was lucky. I was going to just go to the right instead of choosing the upper left-hand corner. We also earned another... Oh, 2 more experience points. Let's increase our pentacles a point. Oh, wands is next. And I did that because the Tower increases our cups by 1. It also, if we spend the card... we immediately replenish all courage for any heroic feats in our inventory. So that's a really nice card, but I'll probably will never use it. +1 cups is so important. We will also work toward another cups, and then we'll grab a locked device edge. Then we'll probably grab an Atlantean spell, or another skill card, or we'll see what we're doing after that. I don't think we need... Or we could grab another skill card altogether and work on our swords a little bit. Let's actually quickly save the game. I don't want to have to redo that. That was really lucky getting the tower. Okay. With this still in effect, I do not want to fight the Axeman. The kitchen that the oven that we need to destroy is probably in this room as well, which is a shame. Okay. Why don't we go and check out the servants' quarters? Another clue. You find a box of candles made from material you don't even want to contemplate. You are sure that this is the work of cultists. There must be an offshoot of the Red Hand, because this had the candles in it as well. In fact, we can still see some of the wax. The red wax there. This is the butler's room, but the butler was out here. The broken circle. Your eyes are immediately drawn to the dancing flames. They seem to have no source of fuel, but are confined to a chalk circle enclosing a pentagram. At each point, a small votive candle still burns. Then you notice the robed body sprawled on the wooden floor. You step closer. As you advance step by step, you begin to feel uneasy. You sense a powerful evil presence in the room, and a chill runs down your spine. A face takes form in the flames, and you stop in your tracks. It seems to stare into your soul, and you are afraid. This thing bound within the pentagram is demonic. Of that there can be no doubt. You must focus your mind and overcome the swelling sense of panic that the creature's gaze has sent through your entire being. Look at the eyes, how they sparkle. Oh, you know what occurs to me? I wonder if I can use various screenshots of this game for Darkest Dungeon. That'd be neat to make some new abilities or effects that are such. Oh, no face cards. This is going to be rough. We must recognize this demon and are terrified of it. You struggle to force your gaze away from its soulless eyes, but to no avail. A little voice deep inside you begins to sob as you realize that this demonic creature has laid bare your soul and seeded it with fear. You have stumbled upon the scene of demonic summoning gone wrong. The power within the pentagram circle has obviously lashed out at its would-be master and killed him outright. What the hell was he doing here? Avoiding contact with the demon's fiery eyes, you examine the scene more closely. You notice that the chalk circle has been broken ever so slightly. This must be what led to the demise of the robed figure lying prostrate before you. Who knows what this poor evil soul had in mind that would compel him to consort with demons? You must tread carefully here. So, we saw candles in the other room as well, so I guess the Red Hand must be summoning demons. So, this might have been the only remaining member of it. He must have been playing that card game and needed some help to decipher it and summon the demon to assist him. So first off, I guess we can... Oh, I can't actually communicate with this. Really? Oh, that's curious. We had the other demon down here, didn't we? We do. The other part of that quest is up here. This is actually the other part of it, so I guess we'll leave this alone right now. And we'll come back for it. There's another outside area here. We will not survive that. That is something I'm worried about. I occasionally get that crash. That is a random encounter which is not working. And I don't know what's wrong. So, it's probably a key and gate encounter. I'll have to just take a closer peek at the game files. Well, the only way back for us now is literally back to the conservatory. We could also... Actually, let's change things up a bit. It's going to be expensive time-wise, but I'm going to double all the way back and begin trying to complete a few of these quests we left behind and open a locked door or two. Where's the way upstairs? Up here? Okay. Let's try the writhing mass of insects. You count dozens of different species, and you wonder why they would be all gathered here together. The bones indicate a food source of some sort, but you wouldn't expect so many different types. Centipedes, cockroaches, ants, and spiders? If you want to keep moving down the corridor, you're going to have to step on or over them. Oh, this is actually a little easier than the last time we tried. But last time we got a lucky play. Oh, we still do again. You shuffle here and there, careful not to disturb the giant colony. A few try to crawl up your legs to bite you, but they are easily brushed away. We're almost to the point where I would attempt this, 1 more point in cups would be useful, as would having this story token change out from under us. Okay, so we know how to do this. We have to use the Vorchadumian release. The release phrase taught to you by the head on the stake should sever the nexus of the curse that binds the wicked spirit inhabiting the guillotine. Let's hope you were paying attention. Klaatu, Baratu, Nektai. That's from Armies of Darkness, if I recall. Let's play the king. I'm not willing, in this case, to fail for a better card draw. I'm not familiar with the loss table. You feel the nexus snap as the curse is broken and the spirit swirls away into some other alien dimension. Secret identities. Many of the worshippers gathered in the inner sanctum to bring about the opening of the gate are drawn from the highest circles of government, academia, and business. Oh, so it's like real life. What's this one do? All challenges that involve cups as the primary modifier receive a +1 modifier to the target number of trick points needed to win. So it's still a cups problem. I'm not willing to do this then. Not yet. I need 1 more cups. Okay. Let's go down here and get the pile of papers and complete this disturbing tapestry. Then we can also try these locked doors. The locked doors will be actually kind of tricky because, again, we can get ill omens from them, which will make it kind of difficult. While we're here, let's also search through the papers. I'm willing to do it now. So, papers you only get 1 chance at to search them for experience points. You might even get a spell, I think, from them. Okay, so we get 1 point for the Ace of Cups, and it's a good hand. We have several, well, we have low number cards, a 3 and a 4 and an Ace, but the Ace gives us 1 point thanks to Justice. We have a Knight of Pentacles, a King of Swords, and a Queen of Wands, so it's not bad. Could be a lot better. We win the challenge, very important. Shame we didn't get the Queen first with to play our King on it. You don't come across anything earth-shattering, but there is enough information here to boost your confidence that you are on the right track. Let's go for the top row. You see a bunch of papers spread out on the desk and think you have searched this pile before. Next, we'll probably grab a lock device edge, I'm thinking. Let's also save the game. Getting 2 experience from that was very nice. I don't want the game to crash and we end up losing that. That tower card is so useful for our character build because we're not going to have much cups for Craig Holden. He'll be lucky to get a 5th. You've discovered a secret wooden door. It blends in almost seamlessly with the wall, but your keen senses were still able to detect it. Finding it is one thing. Figuring out how to open it is another. I did not alter any of the game text yet, so this is still going to be a bit wrong. We have a slightly easier chance to find the activation mechanism. That's interesting. This should actually be tougher to do. Well, let's do this. 2 2s and an ace. The ace is worth 1 point, though, so I can't complain about that. We also get a Page of Cups, a Queen of Swords, and a Queen of Wands, so we have a good chance of winning this. And we do. Let's hope we can use a Queen. Oh, that's nice. I always like taking a face card with a higher face card that we possess. We don't get to use a Queen of Wands, though. You search around the door for anything of note and quickly zero in on some promising locations. After fiddling around with several bumps and nooks, the mechanism clicks, and the door slowly opens. Ah, good thing we checked this door. We will need to go down here to beat the game. I'm going to step down very briefly. Oh, to open this door, a doorknob monster. You see a typical wooden door. However, when you go to turn the knob to open it, it transforms into a vicious mechanical mouth that sinks its teeth into your hand. The pain is agonizing, and you pull back your hand in alarm, only to find that it hasn't been hurt at all. Looks like the Colt has some sort of magical defense here. I'm no match for this at the moment, so we're going to have to leave this alone. Still, we've put this on the map. If we ever find ourselves in a situation where we've fallen through to the cellar, it'll be useful to know where we're starting. Or rather, how we can get back up and out of here. I'm going to want one more wands, or maybe even 2 more wands, before I try that handle again. Alright, this is much easier now for us to get through other locked doors. So, you examine the lock mechanism and decide that you just might know how to finesse it open. Well, we have to hope for cups, because we have 4 cup cards and 1 ace. It seems you overestimated your ability to master this mechanism. You scratch your head dismay. He's probably looking at it like, oh, I can do this. This requires this type of lockpick. And he doesn't have that lockpick. It's a different lockpick. I'm so nervous about this next card. Okay, thank goodness. We try again. King of Cups and Queen of Pentacles. We'll win. Darn you, Queen of Cups! Darn you! The lock opens. You are just as talented with the lock as you thought. The mechanism clicks, and you turn the knob to open the door. Oh, we still got an Aura of Fortune anyway. This is the first one of these our character has gotten. This increases our luck by 1 point. I think that means that we get a flat percentage bonus to get a better card for any card that could have spawned in a challenge. But I don't know. I haven't been able to look at the game files. The game requires something called Adobe Director to edit it directly. Haha, how about that? And Adobe Director was no longer supported. Adobe pulled it from all the websites, and it's no longer given away. You can't even buy it anywhere. I don't know how to edit these files, besides going into them and manually changing the text for some of them. A crafts room. This might be an alchemist. The body of a thief. You come across a desiccated body leaning up against a wall. It was dragging a cloth bag of valuables along with it. This poor soul chose the wrong house to burgle. How did he get this far? Well, let's search the body. This guy should have a pearl on him. This must be the body of which the haunted armor spoke. You see a decaying satchel of thief's tools and loot gripped in the skeletal hand. That's a good hand. We also gain an ace for 1 point. Can use the knight. We almost are winning. Let's hope for pentacles. Hello, Queen of Pentacles. We can use the king on you. I'll use the 4. That worked out. You rummage through the corpse's pockets and possessions and find nothing. Staring down at what is left of the desiccated remains, a thought suddenly occurs to you. You cut open the corpse's stomach and search around. There it is. You pick it up. It glows eerily in the darkness. We almost have our maximum sanity of 40 already in the game. How about that? That's actually kind of awkward. Can we open this up? We have a better chance. If we fail, though, we'll get a trap in our face. Oh, well, let's try it once. You examine the skull closely and note that the teeth are indeed keys and the eye sockets are buttons. Maybe they can be depressed in some sort of sequence to gain entry. We have an ace, a 2, and a 5. We have 2 face cards, a knight and a page. We need to get them played on cards if we want to win. Ooh, glad we didn't draw you to start. Not good. The skull stares at you blankly. You know you have seen it somewhere before. You experiment with pressing some of the keys, and after a while you feel a chill come over you. Did you actually hear a bone? If so, that can't be good. You don't realize your mistake until it's too late. A billowing cloud of gas erupts from the eyes of the grinning skill. Skull door. Grinning skill. In a hiss of anger, you know immediately that breathing in the gas will be fatal. Oh, this is terrible! You really have only one option, and you instinctively try to move to safety while holding your breath and shielding your face. We have a single ace. It's a good draw. A Queen of Swords and a King of Wands. We thankfully survived the challenge. A quick movement, and you are away from the poison cloud, watching it drift slowly up to the ceiling. We can try again. I think we'll try one more time. It's a little easier. A King of Swords and a Knight of Wands. We need a Swords card to show up to win this challenge. We will immediately use the King. We're 1 point short. We can still do it. There we go. The Death's Head strikes you as somehow familiar. Suddenly, you remember the illuminated manuscript Secrets of the Lost, where you saw it, and you try combinations of various formula found in the Dark Tome. Eventually, the mechanism clicks and the door opens. I guess we were familiar with the Death's Head as well. Hello, library. The Gentleman Ghost. You see ghostly wisps of smoke rising to the ceiling. You follow the wisps down to a large, comfortable leather chair sitting in the gloom. Suddenly, you see the illumination of a cigar end, and with that, a ghost materializes sitting in the chair. You're confronted with a supernatural manifestation that sends a chill down your spine. You have kept your sanity. You admire the ghost's smoke circles and wish you had a few cigars on you right now. I've never smoked anything in my life, but cigars smell nice, depending upon the cigar. I think vaping is the thing that everyone's doing these days. That smoke smells wonderful. The Gentleman Ghost sitting in the chair puffs away on his cigar and smiles back at you. He looks like the jovial old uncle that you never had. You sense that he is impatient, though, as his demeanor turns from a smile to a frown. Perhaps he thought you were a servant. Let's communicate with him. You decide to use your psychic talents as a medium to try and find out what the ghost is doing here. He might have information that can help you. Oof, not with this hand. Oh, well, maybe with this hand. Sure, we'll win the challenge. You sit down in the chair across from him and enter a trance. Mistaking you for a servant, he thinks you are impertinent at first. Then he realizes that you still might be able to help him. He needs a favor done. Oh, my good man, I am almost out of my cigars. Would you be kind enough to go and fetch me a few? The ghostly gentleman leans back and puffs out a huge column of ghost smoke. He fixes you in the eyes and says, there is just one catch, of course. More like an inconvenient challenge, actually. You'll see what I mean. Malevolent shadows. You are surprised by a sudden flickering of shadow that spreads out around you. You feel like you are being choked by some invisible force. This is another random encounter, everyone. This encounter can show up anywhere. Anywhere in this part of the mansion or above. But I don't think that they show up downstairs. No matter what mission you do, you'll get one of these. Or you can. Your eyes bulge as you fight to gasp for air, and the dark shadow swirls around you. Your mind is weak. You start to panic, believing that you will surely suffocate. Say, we're not very resistant to the monsters that we're fighting, but we're not taking any damage either, so I guess we're more surprised and horrified of them. Two creatures of shadows swirl around you. You recognize immediately that you are dealing with a type of ghostly creature that feeds off human emotions, fear and pain being the most succulent. You can either stand firm and fight them psychically, or run and hope to fight another day. So normally, this is the only thing you can do. Actually, looking at this now, I need to make another change. Shadows. I added the ability for you to shadow box them if you are of a more physical type of investigator. But I don't like this as swords, cups, wands. I think I'll change it to swords, cups, cups instead. Anyway, we're going to dispel them because it's far easier for us to do that. You decide to use your psychic talents to destroy the shadow spirits. They cannot be dismissed or reasoned with. They are the twisted and evil remnants of extreme human suffering. We have one ace, a king of pentacles, and a knight of pentacles, with some other okay cards. That's nice. Taking the page with the knight. We'll use our king to beat him up. You engage in a psychic duel. You stand firm and use your talents to bottle them up in a psychic containment field. Then you crush the field and push them into the spirit world. 6 cards from this. This will be nice. These random encounters can give you lots of experience. Or, okay, thank God. I'm about to embarrass myself for nothing at all, apparently. I think I lowered the odds of them giving you stuff because it was a bit ridiculous at first. That 2 experience. Let's work towards a locked device edge. +1 wands could also be useful, but we'll go for a locked device edge to start. Okay. We've seen this tapestry before, and we know this is a key to help us play the card game we found. Let's try to find it. This is obviously the key for the red hand card game ritual that you found earlier. You decide to examine the tapestry more closely to decipher the key. This might be risky. Well, not with only 1 target point. In fact, we've already got it because we have an ace in our hand. We don't have really a great draw, though, but we're already winning, so I can't fail the challenge. I might as well play this out to its conclusion. Oh, not bad so far, though. Getting some great choices for the cards we possess. I kind of wish the game was completely different. I wish it just laid all the cards out in front of you at once, and then you could pick and choose where you put your cards. It's really random the way it currently is, but well, this is the game we got. You almost didn't see it at first, but the key is built into the movements of the 2 armies of knights as they prance around the battlefield. You'll quickly note down the corresponding cards and their locations. An edge upgrade, I think our first one. So we can increase arcane focus, which will let us draw an extra card for any sorcery challenge. We can make it cheaper to cast the first spell by a second arcane power, but I can't think of any spells that take 2 arcane power. So I think a second point in that is useless. As for arcane amplification, this would give us a greater chance to gain charges. We would earn an extra charge, but really, we're not going to need charges because we have arcane conservation. So I think our best bet is to continuously improve arcane focus at this point. Let's save the game. I just want to do that before I select the edge, because if I make the wrong choice or I misclick, I don't want to have a terrible edge. Alright, so let's go ahead and select Lock Device Edge. Now, I think I like Pin Sense? No, what is it? Torque Sense. At the beginning of any lock challenge, X random tricks placed on the board are in a scryed state, where X is the level of the edge. So, instead of being face down, one of the fix is translucent, and we can see what awaits us there if I was to select it. I tend to love those edges and find them very useful because it helps me figure out how to best play the cards I have. There are quite a few other good cards here, but when it comes to edges, I tend to like lowering the challenge, drawing more cards, gaining visibility, or drawing more tricks. Everything else can be okay, but I especially would recommend, if you play this game, of avoiding things which reduce the damage you take upon losing. It's much better that you win the challenge rather than lose, and anything you can use to help you win will be put to good use. Things that you can only benefit from when you lose you'd have to lose to gain that. None of the things you lose really matter all that much either. They only reduce sanity loss or health loss. Nothing stops you from getting impairments or ignoring them. Nothing stops you from gaining instant insanity cards or avoiding ill omens. So I can't in good faith recommend you ever take something like Cautious Pick, Quick Hands, or these picks either. You will never see me use them unless I'm playing a really thematic thief, in which case maybe I'd want to select every single edge here to make it as thematic as possible. That's also a good way to lose the game, though. Alright, let's select Torque Sense. With our 1 leftover point, I think we'll work towards a heroic feat. Now, we can't use the heroic feat because we don't have a Bone of Cups, but if we gain courage, we'll be able to put it into that heroic feat. So, in other words, we're better suited getting the heroic feat before the bone, because although if we get the bone, we still don't have a heroic feat. But if we get the heroic feat, we can at least gain courage charges, or rather, if we gain them, we can put them to good use. Alright, everyone, so I'm going to stop now. Thank you guys for watching. When we come back, I will probably go this way to see what's behind this door, and then we'll begin exploring some of these locations. This here, this is the cigars we want for the one ghost. We'll interact with the brain canister, because we've picked up 1 more wand and 1 more pentacle. And we'll see if we can bargain with the demon in the fire, since we know, since we know where we can go to turn that in. Alright, I'm babbling. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one, I hope. Take care, everyone.